All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Tea with Doug G. First of all, let me go ahead and apologize for this not showing up on my personal Facebook page, but I just shared it, so hopefully it's working. But hey, we roll with it. My name is Doug. And y'all, this week I am very excited because I have got three incredible guests with me. Three people who I have the wonderful privilege of working alongside this summer for WinShape Camps for Communities on the Silver team. And without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So I think we're going to start. We're actually going to go in a little bit of a circle. So we're going to start over here with Lauren, and then we'll go down and across. So take it away, y'all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren, last name Hanna. It's a bit confusing, but that's me. I recently graduated from Berry College, and I've also recently got engaged, so that's super exciting. I make quilts. Fun fact about me, I make quilts, and it's a great time. I will be the director for the Silver Team this summer, which means that I've been talking with our churches and Chick-fil-A operators and all the people to try to make camp happen this summer. My role will be a lot of delegating and leading and figuring out the logistics. I'm super excited.
Hello, everyone. I am Caitlin Santos, and I am a third year, or I just finished up my third year at the University of Georgia. And I'm currently studying music composition and getting a certificate in music business. I'm a huge sound and audio geek. Normally, in my normal setup, I would have like a cool ribbon microphone and all this stuff, but a laptop will do for now. But I am I'm so excited. I get to be the production director for the Silver Team, which is just so fitting because I really love what I do. And so basically what I am in charge of is just creating an unprecedented auditoriums experience for campers. And that includes lights and audio and working with our worship leader and working with our theme director, Doug Gooden. And so we are just so excited, and we get to drive a big truck, which is that's also a really cool thing. So that's what I do.
What's going on, guys? My name is Taylor Spinks. I'm about to be a senior at Mississippi State University studying theology. I love everything outdoors, whether it's baseball, football, hunting, fishing, hiking, anything like that, which goes right into what I'll be doing this summer. I'll be the rec director. So I'll be in charge kind of rec and the games that we play and outdoor skills that we have, such as archery and stuff like that. I'm super excited to do it. It'll be my first summer doing it. I'm super pumped to see what the Lord has in store for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for a little bit of background, like Caitlin said, I'm going to be theme director, which means I get to tell all these kids about the awesome message that we have, all revolving around our theme of Made for This. We are very excited. Y'all, let's get right into some questions, okay? So the first question that we have, as usual, comes from my good friend, Mr. Ben Tankersley. And Ben wants to know, y'all, if you could eat only one kind of cereal, what kind would it be? I'll let whoever would like to start off this discussion start it off.
I'll go.
Take it.
My favorite type of cereal ever is Captain Crunch. But if I had one type of cereal, it wouldn't be Captain Crunch because if Captain Crunch gets soggy, it's kind of gross. But in my opinion, one cereal that's really good, crunchy, and really good soggy, like it's been sitting in the milk for a while, is Frosted Flakes. So if I had to choose one cereal to ever eat, plus the milk is I could just drink the milk. Like the Frosted Flake milk is incredible. So if I had to choose one, it'd be Frosted Flakes.
Definitely. Lauren, Caitlin, either of y'all have something to add to that?
I think for me personally, this is probably controversial, but I love Raisin Bran.
Ugh.
You are one of three people I know who love Raisin Bran. One of them is my dad.
I think
so good. You're all I'm saying.
Ugh.
Or Cheerios. I also like Cheerios.
Cheerios is good. People sleep on Cheerios, but Cheerios are good.
Mm.
And then Caitlin.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a Lucky Charms girl. Like, look, you get the crunchiness, but then when those marshmallows are just kind of marinating in the milk, it's like dessert for breakfast. So it's great.
Very nice. I have to say, I'm a Cinnamon Toast Crunch guy. Love the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but yeah. Ben, thank you so much for this question. Now, this next question really does pertain to people who work outside during the summer. So, Taylor, I definitely want your input on this. But what do you look for in a good pair of sunglasses? Again, anyone can answer, but Taylor, I really want to hear your take on this because I feel like that's important to your job.
Okay, so I'm a big aviator guy. I love the aviator style. Not the kind, I don't like them to be too small, but I like them to be too big. Actually just got back from the beach, and I always buy like a $5 pair of sunglasses because I'll lose them in the ocean by the end of the time that I'm there. So I'm going to go with aviators with kind of I'm not a big fan of the colored lenses, like the red or the blue. I'm more of a silver or like a black lens guy, polarized. I don't want anybody to be able to see my eyes. So yeah, it's pretty easy answer, pretty straightforward.
So do you go mirror lens?
Absolutely.
So like,
oh yeah, okay. I want people to be able to see themselves, not my eyes.
I got you. Lauren, Caitlin, either of y'all got something to add to that?
I don't really wear sunglasses.
That's fair.
I feel like all my
That's totally fair.
I just lose them every time. So I've tried, but it's like, too much.
I feel like with camp, like you have to get cheap sunglasses because you got like, was it shaving cream coming at you? Kids are throwing stuff, and your glasses can easily be thrown on the ground and like stepped on. And so if you have like very expensive Ray-Bans, expect them to be severely damaged. So
Yeah, I got you. So I suck at losing sunglasses. So recently I bought not an absurdly expensive pair of sunglasses, but like moderately expensive sunglasses, just so I could like sort of like bait myself into doing better. But hey, we'll see what happens. All right. So y'all, part of the cool thing about our job this summer is that we get to travel all over the country, going to different cities, different communities to put on camp. Anyone want to share just exactly what cities and communities we're going to be traveling to this summer? Lauren, I feel like as our director, you should just be able to list all these off in order.
Yes.
So you want to take it away, Lauren?
Yeah, I can take it away. So our first 2 weeks will be in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So they're a very large church, Battle Creek Baptist Church, actually. And they're so large that they need 2 weeks of camp to be able to serve all their kids. So we'll get to spend 2 weeks there. It'll be really awesome. And then we'll head down to Olive Branch, Mississippi, followed by Collierville, Tennessee, and then Jackson, Tennessee, and then Ruston, Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and Katy, Texas. So we'll be all over the place, but yeah, we'll spend a lot of time in Louisiana. So
very nice. Love Louisiana. So going off of that, question that we got sent in was, what is the city that we are most looking forward to working this summer? Again, anyone can start, but I would love to hear from everyone's answer. Caitlin, you haven't started off an answer sesh yet, so why don't you take this?
Well, of course, I am looking forward to Louisiana locations. My family is from there, and so I just know. And Doug, you and I have talked about this. Like, we got to go check out Raising Cane's and Popeyes. Like, it just hits differently in Louisiana.
It does, because outside Louisiana, Popeyes is good. Popeyes is really good. But Raising Cane's, does not hit nearly as hard outside of Louisiana.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. I am so excited for the kids. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to pick one food-wise, because I'm a foodie, I keep telling these guys, I'm like, I'm a foodie. Louisiana is where it's at.
Yeah, definitely. Taylor or Lauren, what are y'all looking forward to this summer, or which city are y'all looking forward to?
I'm kind of on the same page as Caitlin, but not necessarily for the Canes and Popeyes. I can get that anywhere. I don't care what y'all say about how well it tastes anywhere specifically. No, I'm ready for their, like, maybe get some crawfish, maybe some of the host home will boil some shrimp, something like that. Looking for like some good, and we're there for 3 weeks. So surely we'll get some good, combo or just anything down there. But I'm also excited to go to Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I've never been there before, and I mean their church is a mall, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Yeah,
it's going to be 2 awesome weeks of camp, and it starts us off, and I'm really pumped for that week.
yeah, definitely. And then Lauren, why don't you bring us home with this?
Yes. Well, I've gotten the privilege of talking to all these people that work with the children of these locations. And so it's really hard for me to pick just one, which I realize is kind of a cop-out answer, but I think I'm really excited
It's okay.
to see every location and the newness and different experiences that we have at each place. So
Yeah, definitely. I will say I think I'm most looking forward to Oklahoma just because I don't know why, but I do know why I love the state of Oklahoma. I just have a really good friend who lives in Oklahoma. But Taylor, I can go on and tell you, flat Earth, as far as the eye can see, flat ground. We're gonna be in Broken Arrow, which is near Tulsa, and we will see Oklahoma City in the distance, which is a solid 3 hours from there. But yeah. All right. Well, good deal. Good question. All right. Now we've all agreed to do this insane thing called WinShape Camps for our entire summer. And one thing I want to know is, what was your introduction to WinShape Camps? What got you into this insane job that we get to do this summer? Again, anyone can start. Take it, Caitlin.
I muted myself. So my first introduction was through a famous, very, very, very famous WinShape staffer who happened to be my roommate last year, and that is Swillow. But she goes by Sarah Willoughby, and she just kept like hounding me about it. Like, Caitlin, I really think you need to do camp. Caitlin, I really think you need to do camp. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And it was getting down to the deadline with the applications. And one day we were in the dining hall and she just like pulled out her laptop and she's like, I will fill out this application for you. And then I just like realized how like serious she was. And so I went home and I like filled it out and all that stuff. But she definitely introduced me to that.
Very nice. Very nice. Lauren, Taylor, either of y'all would like to share?
Lauren, you go first.
Oh, okay.
Take it, Lauren.
A me or a point? Yeah, well, I actually went to school at Berry College, which is the home of the WinShape College program. It's recently expanded, but that's where it started. And so I heard about camp through the college program. And I love to travel and I love kids. So it was like, here's this camp opportunity. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah. And then Taylor, got any word for us from Mississippi State?
Yeah. So the summer going into my freshman year, I did a thing called New Maroon Camp, and it's kind of a camp for incoming freshmen, allows them to move in a week early, and you get paired up into these groups, and you have counselors, and you just get to know campus, you get to build relationships before class starts, and it really helps incoming students. And my counselor that year had returned from WinShape like the day before New Maroon Camp started, and the entire week when he's supposed to be talking about the university and how things to do on campus, all he could talk about was WinShape Camps. All he could talk about was what they did, how fun it was. And then he actually got me to apply to New Maroon Camp, which was the camp he was my counselor for. And then the same night, he said, "You're also going to apply for WinShape, by the way." He said, "Applications close in like 2 days." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't really know what it was, but I did it. And I ended up getting the job at WinShape, obviously. Did it my first summer and immediately knew I wanted to come back on leadership team.
Yeah, definitely. So going off of that, it's really interesting. I don't know about y'all, but coming into working camp my first summer, I was very hesitant because I enjoy working with children, but I don't love working with kids. And I think that's kind of something that decides a lot of people's decisions. So something I'm curious about is, how would you say that working camp has changed your perspective on working with kids? Because I know for me, it's definitely improved my opinion of it. Maybe with the exception of middle schoolers. Middle schoolers and I have an interesting relationship where there's just something about middle schoolers that just doesn't fit. I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah.
You don't have to kid, Doug.
Someone talk so I can stop putting my foot in my mouth.
I guess I'll start it. I really, I've always loved kids. I've always loved being around young generation, stuff like that. Then when I got to camp, it changed my perspective on working with kids because, in my opinion, every kid, every camper, they don't all need to be loved the same. They need certain things. It goes back at Leadership Weekend. That is a C.S. Lewis quote. It says, "Sometimes loving everyone in general can be an excuse to not love one person specifically." So we're called to love everyone and love those kids, but I've also learned it's really, really important to love a kid for who they are. Love the kid that doesn't want to be there. Love on the kid that may not want to be at camps, being forced to go. It's different than the kid that wants to be there. It's pumped. This is his fourth year doing WinShape. So it's just every kid needs specific care. And it's just really cool to see that in the different locations and different age groups that you are involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things that I learned my first summer is really just the importance of meeting the kids where they're at. Even the middle schoolers, because they're at a very interesting time in life. But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. It's so important. And I think they try to really emphasize that in staff training, but you don't know until you get there, until you get boots on the ground, just how important it is to meet kids where they're at. Lauren, Caitlin, do either of y'all have something to add to that?
I think I feel very similarly. That yes, every kid does need to be loved differently, and I think WinShape really teaches you how to do that well. Take some mess ups and take some time for sure to learn that, but definitely have gained that. I think also just being crazy and just really putting yourself out there, and doing kind of dumb things that kids love is a great way to build that relationship. So even though you can feel really silly at first or dumb doing some of the things, when you get pied in the face, that's you building relationships with a kid, and sometimes that's the best way to connect with them. So big energy.
I 100% agree with just what everyone has been saying, especially just getting down on the campers level. That's just something that never even phased me, before camp, but it's just so much better to get on their level. Even when we kneel on the ground just to be face to face with them, that's something so small yet so important. The other thing too is just that kids are awesome. Kids are genuinely awesome. And when you, like Lauren's saying, when you're getting pied in the face, or when you're running around shaving cream everywhere, you're just having so much fun with these kids, and sometimes the kids are the ones that are bringing in the inner kid inside of you. we wake up so early in the morning. We're dog tired. But man, once those kids get there at village training, I just have like this like jolt of energy. And it's like, it is the Lord, but it's also these kids who really are bringing that inner kid out of me. And so kids are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You do not know dedication until you have shaving cream literally on every single part of your body. It's insane. So we've talked about how camp has changed your perspective on working with kids. But behind all the fun village training that we do, all the awesome rec that we do, there is that core foundation of ministry work that we get to do through WinShape. So something I'm curious about is, how would you say that working camp has changed your perspective on ministry work? Again, whoever would like to start, feel free. Lauren, you look like you're about to say something, so why don't you go on, take it?
Okay, yes. Sorry, getting my thoughts together. I think camps has changed my perspective on ministry because it's such a kind of intense experience for counselors. We're traveling every week. We're just like packed into hotel rooms. We're waking up at 5 a.m. We're going really hard. And like the next day, it's just as hard. And you're setting up and tearing down. And there's a lot of really like fast movement. And I think just realizing how much in any ministry, but like you have to rely on the Lord, and also realizing how much in any ministry you have to rely on the community that you're in, because if it weren't for the churches or the Chick-fil-A's and the businesses that we get to work with over the summer, camp would never happen. And so yes, WinShape is awesome. The counselors I know that have worked for WinShape are awesome, but also without God, A, and most importantly, but B, also without the community itself, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we're very dependent on others to make ministry happen, which is kind of beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Caitlin, Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, community is so important in this situation. And I mean, Lauren, you really took all the words out of my mouth. Like, there is no way that I could have done camp had I not had, the Lord really just every morning I had to ask God. I was like, God, please give me the energy. Just, Lord, please keep my eyes open. Lord, please, just make my muscles strong so that I can pack this truck. It's just even the littlest things, and how much I learned how much you really need to rely on the Lord to do the thing, to do what He wants you to do. I also learned about servant, like being a servant. What does it mean to be a servant? And that how can I best serve not only my campers, but how can I best serve their parents? How can I best serve my volunteers? How can I best serve this church? How can I serve my teammates? And you just become so much more aware of that. And really, service is one of the many things that just embodies Jesus. And He was so perfect at it. It was almost shocking to people. They're like, Jesus, like, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. And Jesus is like, no, like, this is how you do what I'm talking about here. This is how you share the gospels, through your service. And so you're just so much more aware of that when you're in a camp setting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Taylor.
I was just, kind of building off what they said. A lot goes into camp and a lot of energy. You use a lot of energy before 8 o'clock in the morning. I remember being dog tired at village training one day. I was sitting on the concrete playing Uno with a camper, but really I was just sitting there like this, kind of falling asleep, dozing off. And I remember going by a camp pastor at the time and saying, look, dude, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I was like, I know I can. It's just tough. And, he really reiterated to me about how important my personal life was. He asked me, how was I growing in my faith? And I was like, I don't have time. And I was like, I feel like I'm just, burnt out at both ends. And he encouraged me to, spend time, nourishing myself. And so he and I woke up, 20, 30 minutes early before camp every morning, and we would read a passage together, discuss it, pray together. It really kind of built this thing for me. Yet not I, but Christ through me. Without him, I would have not been able to complete the summer. I would have been miserable. And also another thing that ministry, WinShape has taught me is, it helped me develop these conversations about my faith, about everything much easier. It's a lot easier to have this conversation, even with, just my best friends. Maybe I've never talked to them before, and I find it much easier, much more fluid when I want to have a conversation with them or when they bring something up. I credit a lot of that to.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all, I just want to take a second because I feel like we might have one of our staffers watching, one of the members of our team watching, and I don't know exactly who it is because it's a YouTube username, but it says Leah, and she has expressed that she is a little there's a little trepidation there. So I want to just throw this one out there. What would you say is your greatest tip to first time staffers to surviving camp? Because there is an art to it, really, when you think about it. Who would like to go first?
I can start this one.
Take it, Lauren.
I experienced very similar feelings my first summer. Especially you show up at staff training and the energy is really big and it's a lot. And so if you're even a little bit introverted, it's like, oh my gosh, like what have I gotten myself into? And it can be very overwhelming. And some people thrive at staff training. I have a friend, McKenna, she did great. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like all the fears that I had going in were like amplified, I think. So I would say be prepared for lots of big energy, which can be good but also overwhelming, and don't be afraid to take a minute to go be by yourself if you need that. And I think the biggest thing for me was people saying like just like push through to the first week of camp. Like once you get campers, it'll make a lot more sense, and it will just be easier. And that's really true. Especially if you work with kids, like once you're with the kids, it's like you see the whole point of everything, and you see the point of the big energy and why people get so excited to be with WinShape. Because we're so excited because we've worked with it before and we know it. And so I'd say for new people coming in, just like pushing through the fear and the worry and leaning on other staffers around you, because it's okay to be like afraid and worried. And a lot of us felt similarly. So like you can ask us about it and not have to worry about like, there will be no judgment because I was there and I was ready to quit. So, you got to push through it. That's really
there is no stress like the first day of camp, and then the immediate alleviation of stress at 5 o'clock when the first day of camp is over. Like there's nothing like it. And then you hit that first Friday and you hit teardown. All the fear is gone. Not all the fear, but the majority of the fear is gone within that first week, 100%. So real quick, going off of something that's been said a lot is the importance of the relationship between the summer staff, the church, and the community itself. Wow, I just lost this question, but now I found it. What would y'all say is the key to connecting with the communities that we are serving this summer? Because that is a huge part of the WinShape mission statement. What would you say is the key to best doing that this summer? Again, any of y'all can chime in.
I think a really, really easy thing to say. Be flexible. Know that what your week one camp might need. It's going to be different. Every week is going to be different. Besides Broken Arrow, but even maybe not in Broken Arrow, it'll be two completely different sets of campers. Although we're in the same place, it's huge for us to realize that there's different ways to connect. There's different things we can do. So just be flexible. Be aware of our surroundings. And just be sure that we're paying attention to detail when it comes to these different places rather than just treating them all the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Caitlin, Lauren, either y'all have something to add to that?
I think too. Every community is like, I don't know. Every community like wants to pour into us as well, and so allowing them to do our laundry and fix meals for us and like pour into us is very filling for them in the same way that us getting to sit down with a camper or play dodgeball or whatever it is for the day is very filling to us. And so I think allowing them to serve us and not just coming in with like a mindset of like we are there to serve, but also like in a way like it's honoring to them to allow them to love on us too, which is really important. So
yeah, I love those camp goodie bags, don't get me wrong. Like every time, I mean, for those of you who are watching, like we send out a form with like all our favorite snacks and drinks and all this stuff, and some of these locations we get like all of them in a bag. It's like a Christmas stocking. It's amazing. But a more practical thing for me is just like communicating to the best of our ability. I think a lot of communities and churches just really appreciate that. And so when we are just, keeping them in the know, even when at the end of the week, when we tell them all the numbers of, the amount of kids that came to camp, we tell them, if there's a number of kids who came to know Christ, like just details in all of those things. I think that communication is key. And so I would say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one other thing that we haven't touched on that much is the volunteers that we get in these communities and these churches. Because good Lord, volunteers make our job so much easier. And that's one of my favorite things is really empowering those volunteers to pick up where we leave off. Because I think that these people who are just in the community, who just chose to give up a week of their time to come and help give these kids a fun week of camp, I think there is so much to be said for that. And there's such a huge opportunity for us to really build that community and set that foundation with those volunteers and with that church whenever we come in. So yeah. Well, y'all, we're winding down here, and I said at the start of this show, this summer we're getting to tell kids about how they are made for this. That's our theme, is made for this, and our theme song is freaking awesome. It is amazing, but to kind of wrap us up here with this last question of the night, I would love to know, what does that theme, what does made for this mean for you personally? And we'll start in reverse order that we started the show with. So we'll start with Taylor, then go Caitlin, then Lauren. So yeah.
So made for this, it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of hammers down and kind of reiterates the fact that I am made for this. There will be times in camp when I'm going to be like, God, I'm doing a terrible job. I'm not doing my job right. These kids aren't having fun. Rec's boring. I suck. But then, it goes back to our theme, and it's so encouraging that I was made for this. And it's really going to be an encouragement for me. It'll be there to, keep me going whenever I feel like everything's going wrong. And it's just, to me, it's just a really, really big encouragement. And I'm really thankful that we get to spread that with these kids this summer.
Yeah, definitely. Caitlin?
So when, as someone who's like big in the theater world and production, just, visually looking at the theme, I was like, yes, like fine arts, they're finally giving us a chance to come in the spotlight, because normally we're like all nature-y theme, and don't get me wrong, we can find, beauty in nature, but I was just like, yes, fine arts. But just as a performer, as a musician, as someone who puts a lot of their skills into, these kind of things, it's very easy to overly criticize yourself, we're worst critics ourselves. And so I just, when you hear something like, look, you were made for this, that is all you need to know. That's all the encouragement that you need to do something that to others may be the impossible. To you, that may be the impossible. And I think God reveals those things to us through our crafts, through the things that we love, when we feel discouraged about these things. And so, yeah, I mean, just looking at it from an artistic point of view, I think that this is important. This is something that we, as even masterpieces, we're called God's masterpieces. Like, that's just something that we need to be constantly reminded of.
And then Lauren, bring us home.
Yeah, I think for me, Made for This, I mean, it brings up so many thoughts and emotions, I feel like, and I love it so much. But I think in particular, life just brings about so many challenges and hardships, and it can be really easy to get discouraged and sit in the world and see how broken it is and just feel like there's nothing you can do. But I think the call that we are made for this, that God crafted each of us and knew us before we ever took our first breath, I think that that's so beautiful, because it's kind of an acknowledgement that, yeah, like, there are broken things, but you were made to, like, be a light in the midst of the brokenness. And through God, we don't have to be only the like equivalent of the hard things that we've been through, but we get to be more than that, and we get to show other people that they are more than that. And I think just the grace of God that he made us is very beautiful. So
yeah, absolutely. I think, much like Caitlin, when I saw that we were gonna do a theater focused theme this year, I got really excited. And the fact that we're getting to tell all these kids about how they were made for this, that just speaks to me on the fact that, God didn't make you by accident. He made you exactly the way he wanted you to be. Like, there's no surprises to be had with God. And I think that's so beautiful. And I cannot wait to just express that to these kids, to these volunteers, to these churches this summer. But yeah, y'all, I think that's gonna wrap us up for tonight's questions. Did y'all have a good time?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Well, wonderful. And to everyone watching, thank y'all so much. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Shout out to my mother, and also Ben Tankersley, who are always in a war to see who can out comment the other. We love to see it. Folks, as I said, I get to work with these lovely people this summer. However, that does mean that we are going to have to take a brief hiatus with Tea with Doug G. I've got some special things planned, maybe with some guest hosts in the future. But yeah, y'all, for right now, this is going to be the end of this sort of season, I guess, of Tea, and we will come back later on, possibly with guest hosts, possibly when I get back from camp. But you know what? We're going to work that out. But yeah, until then, keep up with everything that Vire Media has coming out. We have new episodes of Setting the Skeen every week. I think this week is, I don't know what this week is, to be perfectly honest with you. It's My Friend Dahmer. That's what it is. But anyway, yeah. And until then, I'm Doug. She's Lauren. She's Caitlin. He's Taylor. And this has been the T.
I like
Y'all
it.
have a fantastic week and a fantastic summer. All right. Bye.